I don't know if you're aware of this, but whenever you buy something, you don't want it. You want the afters of it. You want why you're better off after it. So let's say you buy a newspaper. You don't want a newspaper, but what you want is after buying the newspaper, you've got the news, or you can find out about the sport, or you've got something to do on the train, something to pass the time. So you didn't buy the newspaper because you wanted the newspaper. You bought the newspaper because of why you're better off after it. It's the same the other day. I went to an optician and I bought a pair of glasses. I didn't want it, but after buying it, I can now see better. And maybe you bought some toothpaste at the weekend. You didn't even want that, but after buying it, you've now got clean teeth. So nobody ever wants the thing. They want why they're better off after it, the afters. Let's now bring that back into communication. If I say I want to report on thing X, actually I don't. I want the afters of it. I want why I'm better off afterwards. Is it going to help me make decisions? Is it going to help me save time, save money? I don't want the report. I want why I'm better off after it. I'll give you an example. Very recently, a company got in contact with me and said, Andy, we'd like to hire you, please, to do some cold calling training. I said, okay, fine. Can I ask you a couple of questions to make sure that I do exactly what your company needs? And they said, of course, ask away. So I said, so you say you want this cold calling training. Can you help me understand where you want to be after it? Like, what's the purpose of it? Why are we doing it? He said, because we're not very good at cold calling. Yeah, I said, yeah, I know that, but how will you measure that this training has been helpful? And they said, well, our salespeople's diaries are too empty at the minute. They're not seeing enough customers. And I said, oh, right, so am I right in that what you want is you want your salespeople to have full diaries? Is that what you're looking to achieve after? And he goes, that is exactly right, Andy, yes. And I said, so could I ask you another question here? If by magic, maybe, we were able to give your salespeople full diaries, are you completely wedded to the fact it needs to be cold calling that gets you there? Or as long as they've got full diaries, can we explore other avenues? And he said, oh, other avenues. We all hate cold calling. I was like, so let me just stop you there. You asked for some training on something you all hate. And he went, yes. I said, well, why don't we do a training course on how to fill your diaries, avoiding cold calling? And he goes, that is what we want. Now, if I hadn't asked those questions, I would have done some pretty high-end cold calling training. Wouldn't have been what he wanted because they all hate cold calling. So how can you do what I just did? How can, with a few questions, you find the afters someone wants, so the next time you prepare a communication for them, you get it right first time? Well, it's actually quite straightforward. You ask a future-based question. So when he said he wanted cold calling training, I said, okay, help me understand why you're doing it. What do you want to achieve afterwards? Or what is the outcome you're looking for? Or what is the goal with this? So any of those are future-based questions because they're not talking about the training. They're not talking about the communication. They're talking about why the other person is better off afterwards. Now, if you think of the three tenses in the world, past tense, present tense, future tense, obviously, if you want to find about the afters, we have to ask future-based questions. I've given you three there. So what are your priorities? What are you looking to achieve? And what are your goals with this? They're so important to get right. In a second, we're going to press pause and see if we can come up with a list of, let's say, 10 brilliant future-based questions. Now, can I just ask you here, don't cheat with this. When I did it with a group recently, after about 4 seconds, someone said, I've done it. I said, God, I know I said it was quite easy to do, but how come you've done it in 4 seconds? What have you written? He said, well, where do you want to be in 1 year? Where do you want to be in 2 years? Where do you want to be in 3 years? So if I can ask you, don't be lazy and see if we can come up with a list of, let's say, 10 brilliant future-based questions.